Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another video. And today we have our Week 7 match against none other than Manny, who, as you can tell by his team on the screen, absolute crazy team. Pretty much the demon team that was drafted this season. Not only that, but he's also just been on having a great season overall, been on a bit of a tear. Undefeated going into this week, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. So I knew it was going to be a tough matchup, and I knew I was going to have to play my best and have good prep going into this matchup. Spectrier, Chin Pao, really good mons, and then having things like Landorus, Hoopayu, Scissor, Latios in the back, because they're all obviously great draft mons as well. So I knew it was going to be a difficult match, and was going to have to bring my A game, really and truthfully. So let's get into my prep for this week. So this is the team that we bought for this week. In our first slot, we have a Dragapult rocking a pretty basic kind of support set, disruptor set. Um, Faster than a lot of my opponent's mons. Most importantly, faster than both Chin, Pao, and Spectre. Actually, faster than everything, should I say. So I knew it was going to come be handy as a solid like Revenge Killer, Disruptor. Draco Meteor hits a lot of my opponent's team hard. Hex is mainly there for picking up a burn or something on someone, thunder waving something, coming in later and hexing it. Especially like the Spectrier, for example. And then Flamethrower in that last slot cleans up mons like Scissor and then the Chin Pow if at all possible. Basically, I knew I was going to be able to disrupt a lot of my opponent's team with this given the chance. Basically, get it in, put a thunder wave on something, come back later, hex it. Especially like even something like the Clefable or even the Hoopa U, these bulkier, especially defensive mons, being able to kind of take advantage of that. And then the spell tag is really just there to increase the damage of hex. It's kind of a basic set, almost like the very similar to the standard OU set. Just sort of this annoying kind of supportish set that can wreak a lot of havoc. So I thought it was great in my opponent's team, especially being able to get a Thunder Wave on something like the Spec or the Chin Pao late game. Then we have our King Gambit. Basically, this is sort of a counter set once again to the Spectrier. Um, Lumberry plus Substitute is a great way to exploit um, like Spectrier like sets with like Will-O-Wisp or something like that. It wants to come in, wants to Will-O-Wisp. Cool. I can substitute Lumberry, substitute, then force it out, try to get a Swords Dance. Or, for example, if it is, say, choiced in a matter, then I can obviously substitute on the switch and take advantage of that. Basically, that was the whole point of the set, was to basically exploit Spectrier, try to take advantage of that, and then use the boost with Swords Dance to try to wreak havoc on my opponent. Mons like Latios as well. Behind a substitute, I'm a big threat to like the Chin Pao as well. So basically, just exploiting those mons. Went with Defiant over Supreme Overlord to potentially get the boost from Landorus Intimidate if it ever wanted to come in, being able to eat that up and then get that boost and just become stronger, basically, over the Supreme Overlord, which would be great for cleaning up late and make my Sucker Punch that much stronger, especially to like hit the non-resistant targets. I also brought this because it's one of my best mons into Clefable. I didn't want Clefable to be that big of a problem, so obviously a strong Iron Head, um, really good into that Clefable slot. So then we have our Ferrothorn, basically the kind of the main Chin Pao check, bulky, tough mon, hard to break. Um, Looked at the stats. Originally, I thought I might bring Choppleberry, but as it turns out, that Choppleberry, I'm not sorry, Sacred Sword only does like 50%, and I think I don't remember if that's with or without Life Orb. But I knew likely that the Chin Pao might either be choiced or boots. Possibly pads. Pads was a little less like pads was potentially dangerous because avoiding the iron barbs and potential burn would be annoying. But pads means I could wear it down with rocks. And also like icicle crash is non-contact, so like if he brings icicle crash, like I don't, doesn't matter in that situation. But yeah, 50% from Sacred Sword. So I know I didn't need Choppleberry unless it was like SD Sacred Sword, which kind of didn't think would be happening. But either way, Ferrothor was a great switch into Chin Pow under most cases. I had the leftovers so I can have some recovery. Gyro Ball Body Press, great coverage to my opponent's team. Body press hits a lot of stuff hard. Gyro ball hits like the Spectrier, um, the Latios. Even does a decent chunk to Clefable. None of those Mons wanted to really eat a gyro ball on the Switch. And then Leech Seed Stealth Rock. Leech Seed for some recovery, Stealth Rock, so I can obviously, sort of get some chip. You know what I mean? Get those entry hazards that we might need later. We also have our Florges coming this week. Assault Vest set. My opponent had a lot of kind of special attackers that were dangerous. Um, the Latios, the Spectrier, the Hoopa. Kind of want to exploit those a little bit with a strong special wall. So we went the Assault Vest and we went our max defense to give us the best chance against things like Buzzswole or the Spectrier. Basically, to live hits from those and kind of exploit them. Being Assault Vest, we kind of limited on the moves that we can use. Florida doesn't have the greatest move set, but Moonblast, Energy Ball, mainly there for the Rotom, Psychic Noise, just in case we need to, sort of mess something up, something on the switch in, make sure it can't recover, and then Draining Kiss in the last slot, so that way we have some recovery, especially like on the Fairy Week Mons. My opponent did have a lot of Fairy Week Mons as well, so being able to exploit those with the Draining Kiss, get some HP recovery back is also really good. Then we have our Moltres, just another solid physical wall, great for Scissor. Basically, don't want uh, Ferrothorn just being worn down a lot. Want to keep it as healthy as possible. So things like Scissor and even to a degree, um, Buzzswole without coverage are really, this is really good into them. But also getting a potential burn off on the Moltres is always great. So, I mean, not Moltres, sorry. The Chin Pao is also good. So, pretty simple set here. Mystical Fire just to wear down any special threats I want to switch in. Things like the Latios, Hoopa U, basically kind of exploit them a little bit. Roost and Defog, we need some Defog help with the Assault Vest being on our Florges. And then U-turn in the last slot so we have some momentum and then really the rest of the physical bolt with a little bit in the speed. I reckon that was actually for I think this is minimum, not min speed. Maybe it is max speed. It might be max speed Buzzwole. I think we're supposed to be faster than. And then we have our Tapu Koko in the last slot. Choice Scarf just to be annoying, to be faster than Spectrier, or at least be able to catch up with Scarf Spectrier because they do share the same speed stat, and also be faster than non-Scarf um, Chien Pao, faster than Scarf Ladio, stuff like that. Just a great like revenge killer. Thunderbolt, D Gleam. We went with double momentum with Volt Switch and U Turn, just because I wanted to be able to switch out on the Landorus if at all possible, but also wanted to have strong stab momentum if Landorus didn't come or if Landorus went down at some point. And also, I just didn't have there were no moves that I wanted for coverage. Like there was nothing on my opponent's team that I needed to like hit hard or anything like that. Coco doesn't have the greatest coverage either, so nothing I could really use. Just figured. I used what moves I had available. Could have put Defog maybe and freed up that coverage slot on Moltres, but did not do that. But that's the team that we brought for this week. So we're going to take a quick look at our match and see how we did. All right, here we are in the match. And quick look at my opponent's team. No Landorus, no Clefable, no Hoopa. I knew this was another matchup, kind of like I think I had the week before, where I said my opponent could really bring any Mon. There were a few Mons I thought might not come. I did not think particularly like that Scissor or Buzzwole were the greatest into my team, just because of Mons like Moltres and Ferrothorn kind of being able to exploit them a little bit. Not to say that they can't work well into them. Obviously, Buzzwole with the fighting stab and pretty good coverage. But basically, I didn't. I thought they were a little exploitable, but like literally I knew any of my opponents' mons could come under any circumstance. Just because they were that good. There's no like mon that's like a big no, that I think's not going to come because of my team. So I had to be prepared for kind of everything at this point. So checking kind of the boxes in that regard. I lead here with Moltres, and I thought Moltres was a great lead into most of my opponent's team. I think I'm faster than like most Rotom washes. Obviously, like no speed or even like any kind of speed that it wants to run a speed creep something. No, I'm faster than it. See the Latios. Figured that Spectre Chin Pow aren't leading, so good lead to most of my opponent's team. I figured, and I fish here for any sort of attack. This thing could be specs. I didn't want to get hit with a potential scarf trick. That would be dangerous to any of my mons except for Coco, but I'm not risking Coco here on like a psychic type attack. Um, but that wouldn't be the end of the world on Florges just because Florges is all attacks. Obviously, not being able to have our assault vest and being able to switch moves kind of sucks, but it's not the end of the world. But we do see the flip turn, and we see its life orb. So I know it's not choiced in any way. And I come here and I click the energy ball, see that I am faster. That's cool. I believe, like I said, I'm EV to be faster than um, yeah, I think the EVs were specifically to be faster than no speed or yeah, no, non-invested Rotom basically. So we get a decent chunk off with the energy ball. I draining kiss here mainly on a potential switch, but also if that stayed in, I want to get as much health back as possible. There was a potential it could have pain split as well, which would have been annoying. We do see the scissor come in. I have no way to hurt the scissor, so I go Moltres. Opponent makes a good double in a Rotom as expected. I know I'm faster than it, so I just go ahead and click the U-turn. See that it is Citrus Berry and go into my Ferrothorn. Getting burned here on Ferro would suck, but it's not the end of the world. I just expect my opponent to Volt Switch. Get the free momentum. I can't block it with anything. See the Buzzwole come out. I go into Florges, really just scouting for um, maybe coverage move or a prediction or something like that. I know that this thing could have Poison Jab, and that's really the only move I can go for that's going to hurt Florges. We do see the Rock Tomb come out. I've actually seen Manny run Rock Tomb before, so I was like, yes, um, potential to come out. So went to the Florges, scared out the Buzzwole, Moonblasted here for a little bit of chip. I could have doubled, but I wasn't 100% sure my opponent's move was. We see them double as well. They keep doubling into this. I don't, this time on this double, I was like, yeah, this is possible. This comes out. I'm not scared as much. Giving up some free momentum isn't ideal, but I'm also not trying to risk just bullet punching and losing Florges just to that, right? Like that's not, in my opinion, that's not a winning turn. So I'd much rather try to get the burn on the Moltres, and if I have to go back into the Florges kind of at stage one. Um, at the end of the day, I've taken less damage overall. I've given my opponent some momentum, but I've taken less damage. So we see the Chin Pao come out. Obviously, it's a great position for my opponent. This is the downside to that momentum is letting the Chin Pao in. So Chin Pao comes in. I'm just going to click Moonblast. Not worth risking shaking chip on anything. Also, can't let this thing set up. And my opponent does miss the Icicle Crash, and we land the Moonblast, and it kills. Was actually really surprised Moonblast killed in this situation. I think I just clicked. I could have Draining Kiss. That would have been nice, but I just clicked Moonblast. And so unfortunately, the Icicle Crash miss is very big. Um, Overall, I guess a bit of spoiler alert. This game was very close, so I think it might have mattered a lot at the end of the day. Um, Obviously, I was throwing away my Florges, so me getting value out of a play where I'm sacking him on is always huge. So I wish, that's unfortunate that it happens, obviously. Um, but I just stay in here with the Florges, throw it away on the Lester Purge. It's enough to kill. Then I go into my Dragapult. This is just free pressure, basically. His best switch in is probably something like Scissor, and it's going to take a decent chunk from a Draco. Um, we get the kill on the Rotom, so now we're up again as well. Buzzwole comes in. Don't want to risk an Ice Punch. Rock Tomb comes out, which is a great. It's kind of a great mid ground because even if I stay in, which I'm not, um, Rock Tomb lowering my speed is good, and getting the whatever little bit of damage I get off of Buzzwole isn't worth it. Um, we do see this Buzzwole is fast enough to be faster than me at -1. I don't know what my speed is currently at -1. I think probably even min speed Buzzwole is still faster than me. I stayed in. I could have potentially went into the Ferrothorn and just saved this as a sack later, or just keep it around for Scissor because obviously I'm usually faster than pretty much every variant of Scissor. and I can just kind of roost off on it, and most it can do is try to knock me. But I stay in here, eat the Rock Tomb. Buzzwole is plus attack. I think this thing might have been max speed. So I go into my my Coco. I don't even know if Dazzling Gleam killed. I know Buzzwole has no special defense, but it might not have had a way to hit me, which is a little strange. I don't know. I really don't remember if even if Manny sent me the sets for this. I don't know what this Buzzwole was. I don't think it was banded, so it might have been scarfed. And I don't know if I find that out later or not. But we see that it obviously was booster, not booster, sorry, beast boost attack. So attack had to be its highest stat. So we dazzling gleam here, and I've pretty much at this point I'm pretty aware that the scissor is probably max special defense. Um, Go into my Ferrothorn here. Obviously, my the biggest mod my Ferrothorn checks Chin Pao is gone, so I'm kind of like, all right, cool. Exploit the iron barbs here, get a little bit of chip. Buzzwole comes out. I know we see it Rock Tomb again trying to catch a switch. I stay in because, like, once again, I already said I don't, Ferrothorn isn't the most ideal Pokemon to have right now, or not the most ideal, but it's one of those situations where like its main checks are gone. Like two of the mons it checks really well are gone, so it's kind of not really expendable, but its value has kind of gone down. I can now use its value to wear down this Buzzwole. So he rocks him there. I get the leech seed, so now I'm getting some more recovery. Drain Punch does about 50, so not the end of the world. Plus, I'm always chipping it down afterwards, and I get the regen, so I know I'm going to be able to do a decent chunk of this Buzzwole. Get my rocks up; those could be important for some chip later. He ice punches, so we do see the ice punch. So at this point, obviously, I know this thing is not choiced. Um, we see the ice punch there, doesn't do much. Um, and I can just get my rocks up, gyro ball there for a little bit more chip, and basically I know that I've beaten this Buzzwole as Drain Punch won't be enough to kill me. And I think I body pressed here, kind of not really dumb. I knew that like I was going to kill this Buzzwole regardless. Obviously, I believe gyro ball. I think gyro ball probably would have killed it right. Yeah, that situation and would have kept my Ferrothorn alive. But I body pressed there on the potential of Scissor coming in, and Drain Punch will do enough to kill me. Gets the roll there. Obviously, you saw it did 45%, so there was a chance that didn't even kill me. I go Pult now because it puts the most pressure on my opponent. Flamethrower in that slot. Get rid of it. Spectre comes out. Now here, Spectre is basically going to do I say one of two things. But in this situation, Spectre is either faster than me and he gets a Shadow Ball off. I do have a switch into that Shadow Ball with Gambit, obviously. Or it's slower than me and it tries to maybe sub, nasty plot, something like that to exploit my switch. And in that case, I lose. If it's nasty plot, mud shot, then like that's a very real set. I think Gambit die. I'm pretty sure Gambit dies if this is like some sort of like expert belt or life orb or anything. And he tries to like bluff the scarf. So I don't know what it is. It could also be like Kasib Berry. So my play here is to Thunder Wave. If I Thunder Wave this thing, I can beat it. So I click my Thunder Wave. Turns out it's Scarf. Cool. Crit. I don't think. Pretty sure that did not matter at all. So I go into Gambit. I have to force it to switch. That's cool. I substitute here. And I just click Sucker Punch. I think this thing might have been like 4 attacks, more than likely. Life Orb 4 attacks. So I Sucker Punch there. They don't switch, and then they go into Scissor. The U-turn breaks my sub, which is unfortunate. Um, Spectre comes out. I click Iron Head here. Unfortunately, it's not enough to kill. Can't really do anything about that. I just Iron Head on the Scissor too, just to see what its play was, because it can't like 1v1 me more than likely. I've already pegged this thing being bulky. I Sucker Punch here, and we see this is Curse, which is great tech for Manny. Kills the Spectrier, and it puts my Gambit on a timer. So now I'm put in a weird situation. I don't think the Scissor has close combat. It's only click U-turn. Um, like I said, I pegged that it is now like a bulky set. So possibly Roost or something like that. So we see the Roost here. I expected like maybe a Swords Dance, so I just play the game. I SD once, and I do not sucker punch on his turn, and I Iron Head for the most amount of damage, basically. So I get the most amount of damage here. Now it's just basically down to a 1v1. How much damage does my opponent do? How much damage can I do with Terrain Boosted Thunderbolt? Remember, I am max special attack timid, so I'm not doing as much damage. I'm not a boosting item. So I can basically just click Thunderbolt here. This game's going to end one way or another. We see the Bullet Punch come out. Thunderbolt does 39. My opponent cannot move faster than me. I Thunderbolt here, likely on a roost. Um, so interesting end game there for my opponent. I don't want to say it was a throw, um, but a roost on the second turn, would have put him around like 70-ish HP. Bullet Punch is a 3-hit KO, depending on the roll. Likely, I think it's probably always a 3-hit KO. Thunderbolt's a 3-hit KO, even with leftover recovery most times. There's a chance for crits. There's a chance for paralysis. If my opponent roosts there, good chance that I lose that match. He obviously has to move behind me when he roosts, but he moves before me when he bullet punches. Um, I probably don't stall him out of roost, but like I said, depending on paralysis, crits, et cetera, there's a chance that I win that. A chance that I lose that, but there's also maybe a random chance that I win that, even if my opponent roosts there. Um, it's kind of one of those weird scenarios where like his best play is to roost, but it doesn't always guarantee him the win. Um, and then he had to see how much bullet punch he did, because bullet punch 2-hit KO'd, then like obviously that's the correct play. Um, but we come out on top. Like I said, I think that miss really and truthfully, that was really the only bit of hacks in this game, besides like a random crit that didn't matter. And honestly, I think like that was a huge contributor because this game was super close. Obviously, if that icicle crash does land, I die. I only had 20% HP. My plays like to go into my Ferrothorn and then just Gyro Ball. And I don't know what my opponent's response to that is. It's probably to go into Buzzwole or something like that. So it kind of forces that situation earlier. I'm not sure if he was Banded. I'm not really sure. Banded was a bigger threat to me than like no item. Maybe I get up rocks, maybe I Leech Seed in that situation, but I probably just go and try to Gyro Ball for as much damage as possible. Either way, GG to Manny. It was a tough like to see that happen. Like the game kind of hacks having that big of a role in the game. It's not like he hacks me so the game got close again majorly or anything like that. I think the curse spec was a cool set. Um, and obviously Buzzle was a bigger pain in the butt than I thought. Um, so GG's to my opponent, and try to keep going next week. Um, and try to close out strong. A strong close to the season is always nice going to playoffs. So we'll see how the rest of the season goes. Thank you guys for checking out the video. Stick around, subscribe, like, do all that kind of stuff so you can keep up as we roll out and finish season 3 of the SADL. It's been a fun season. Shout out to all my coaches. Love you guys. Y'all have been great this season, and I look forward to the end of the season and to the future, what we do from here on out. So shout out to you guys. I'll see you guys around.